we're back in a room that we used to be in for our meetings, and it's a little cozy for us up here. This is a board meeting. Usually we'd all be sitting around a table. I wouldn't do a dinner party or a board meeting in regular life this way, but we're doing this out of courtesy for the public who is here, and we welcome everyone here today to our board meeting. We have a big agenda. We have a lot of things to discuss. There's a lot of great things that are happening at ACC. Our live release rate year to date is at 94%, which is a really strong number, and we'll hear a lot more from that when Risa speaks to us and gives us her report. Our fundraising and marketing is on point, and the messaging is strong, and we're doing great work there, and we'll have, again, a lot of detail from Risa during her report. And the thing that I'm really proud of is the growing community engagement that is happening with our organization. The differences that we're making in the communities that we're serving are having real impact in people's lives, so animals aren't ending up being surrendered in our shelter. So again, there's a lot of great work that's been happening, not just since we met, but over the last year, and we'll dig into that a bit. And also Christine from the Mayor's Office is here to give us an update on our capital projects. All of them are underway. They're all making progress. It's really exciting to know just how much change is going to happen over all 5 boroughs in the coming years with these capital improvements. So we'll hear about all of those in the meeting as well. We have some board business to attend to right away. Welcome again, everyone. We need to approve the minutes from our last meeting. May I have a motion to do so? Second. Yeah. All in favor? Okay. Our minutes are approved. And we also, at our June meeting, have the responsibility to review and vote on our budget for fiscal year 2020. We work in a fiscal year that starts at the beginning of July, so we need to review that. We have the materials in front of us, and I'm going to ask Joe from BTQ to give us our overview, and we have questions, I know, as well around it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good morning. What I'd like to do is to present the fiscal 19 projection for the year, and as you mentioned, Patrick, the year end at the end of June, and then also the proposed fiscal 20 budget for next fiscal year. Just going over some of the highlights for the fiscal 19 forecast. The fiscal 19 projection is to come with a fiscal year to end with a small surplus of about $7,000. Spending for the year and revenues for the year are projected to be about $20,500,000. During fiscal 19, ACC received additional funding of $3 million from the city council, and that was for additional staffing of approximately $1.6 million and additional OTPS, other than personal services, of about $1.4 million, of which $1.8 million will be spent during fiscal 19. ACC was not able to utilize all of the city council funds for several reasons, one of which was the timing of receiving the funds later in the year than we had anticipated, the fact that the funding was just for a single year, one-time funding for fiscal 19, which made it difficult to try to add staff and add expenses, knowing that in fiscal 20 we would have to find different funding sources for that. Anticipate seeing the additional $3 million coming in the following year. And also that we changed mid-year in the way that ACC receives its funding. So for the first 7 months of the year, ACC was receiving its money in advance. And then starting in February, that process changed. And ACC then switched to an expense reimbursement type of process with the city, which required ACC to spend the money and then vouchers to be submitted before the funds would be returned. And that usually results in a lag in terms of the funding coming in. So by the time we got to the fourth quarter, we were fairly low because the process had just started. It was taking several weeks to be able to submit the vouchers, get the vouchers, and then see payments. And then ACC ended up drawing on its line of credit towards the end of the year to be able to cover some of these expenses. So that slows spending down considerably. We were very concerned about what we were spending on the loan, but we were just concerned about raising the cash. Any questions? So looking at the financials themselves, on the revenue side, projecting $20 million of revenue, which is about $1.7 million less. And the largest part of that, $1.1 million, is because of the timing of spending the city council funds. In addition, there was also less contributions than we had anticipated, and that was primarily due to one fund that we had anticipated receiving substantially more than anticipated funding from that particular fund. Partially offsetting the reductions was an increase in placement revenue, which was great news, and also an increase in events revenue. The gala, once again, for like the third year in a row, exceeded its projections, so that's great in terms of placement. One of the things that I've included in your package is just a graph of just the revenue sources. And as you can see, the funding from the DOA represents 73% of the total funding. And when you combine all government funding, this represents 82% of all the funding that was received by this. On the expense side, again, because we were anticipating recognizing less revenue, we also incurred less expenses. $1.7 million.
Before we get to the expense side, just a quick question.
Sure.
Just remind us when we did get the city council funding. I know this is later in the year, but when was it?
We received the first tranche of the funding at the end of the year, so 5 months into the fiscal year.
And I'll jump into, if I recall, we also received that allocation very late in the budgeting process, and I'm curious in terms of city budgeting, where do we stand for 2020, kind of jumping ahead to the budget conversation, but we got incredible support from city council for FY19. Are we still in the running for that kind of same support in FY20, or has that window closed on the budgeting process in the city government?
We anticipate that it will be renewed for another 1 year.
I'm sorry,
So we're anticipating that another 1 year, same $3 million would be renewed.
But that's still that's still
It hasn't been
in
voted
the
on,
process,
but that's
yeah.
what we are expecting.
And when was the timing of that finalized? Just so we can.
So I will check into, and I will work on seeing, why this happened in November. We'll look at that and see if we can do that next year. If anything's on the city side, we'll see there, I don't have the details of this, but we'll look in and if we can include that for next year, we will.
Because our fiscal year starts on
July
July.
1st.
So, like we are in next year.
Understand.
Yeah.
So we've already,
To have the same guidelines to use it, is there any sort of conversations about making it a little bit more user-friendly in that regard?
We'll see what we can do. If you mean use it within the fiscal year, that has to.
Sounded like some hurdles were put in the way that prevented it from
So
usable, so hopefully we can work on
It's the 5-month delay that is what Brenda said.
Well, no, so
Right, so we'll.
beyond that,
You're asking
our
whether we
ability to
can
have
roll
to
over.
spend it
I
and
doubt
reimburse it in
now.
advance, that could cause some issues with being able to allocate it as well.
To be reimbursed in advance, the change that was
Correct.
described about how we are funding it
Correct.
in advance.
Correct.
That's a new system, as was described, and that's a citywide change.
That's-
And that's, but we're ACC and the health department have been making a lot of progress, because the whole system's
Okay.
changed.
So hopefully
And
learning
once
curve,
we're over this
yeah.
startup
Yeah,
period,
learning
it's
curve.
gonna be much smoother.
Okay, okay.
and I do want to add that the process is getting smooth. In February, as we were trying to load the budget into the new system and then letting that, making sure the budget was correct, and then starting to create vouchers.
Yeah.
When you're doing it big view, it's a little more problematic. So it did cause some extra time to spend creating vouchers, doing vouchers, getting things. So that
Yeah.
system now is more routine. So hopefully, we'll be able to manage that a little bit better. To the point though that in this particular budget that I'm presenting right now, it does not reflect that additional $3 million. There is an assumption for fiscal 20 of additional funding for personnel of about $1.6 million, but we don't have the entire
appropriate, because we don't, it's not,
Right.
not a done deal, so we are
Exactly.
hopeful.
Great.
So, just quickly going back to fiscal 19 forecast, I mentioned that expenses were going to be about $1.7 million less. Most of that is really on the personnel side. That was because we were very cautious about adding people, knowing that this was just a one-time funding source.
Are you on
Time
page
when we-
4? So we can
I'm sorry?
Are you on page 4?
I am, yes.
Just want to make sure we're following.
I have cliff notes.
Yeah.
And that really was just timing of being able to bring on additional staff. It was also concerned that ACC had about between 1.5 and a half of those positions going forward. And then in addition, there was also some savings on the French side. Most of the savings were due to the fact that payroll was less, but there was also some savings on the healthcare side. ACC police have done an excellent job of being able to control the 30% in healthcare expenses. Other than personal expenses are projected to be about $250,000 lower than budget, and most of that is in the medical supplies and services area. A lot of the medical supplies are bought in the latter part of the year. This is where right now we're in a little bit of a cash crunch, so we're holding off. Spending as
How
much money as we
comfortable
want.
are we that our inventory is possible?
We're working on making sure that the inventory is proper, and keeps track of that. We have a plan on what we're spending between now and the end of the year to make sure that we have good levels of inventory. We're also, lower supplies expense and also lower auto costs. Part of the auto costs were just savings in fuel and maintenance costs, but also two vehicles that we purchased. We had anticipated cost being much higher than it was going to be. Roughly about 60%.
And what was the use of this?
Those are for the community.
Community outreach.
Yeah, right. In your packet, there's another chart that is identified and shows the breakout of expenses, and you can see there.
Can you just tell us what page you're on? When you're-
Six.
Sure, I'm sorry, page 6. You'll see, this percentage rarely changes, but ACC relies on personnel. So 69% of the operating expenses are related to personnel. Any questions on the personnel?
In combination with outside vet services, VMS to pseudo person.
Right.
David, from your point of view, and referring to the audit committee, any concerns with what we just discussed? For call-outs?
I mean, the concerns of gods are willing to give them to service all the animals that we have. That's, I think, that's the mind during the year, and make sure that levels of inventory are appropriate, levels of staffing are appropriate, and that we are not letting the oversight of that not be paid close attention to.
The 1.7 million shortfall in revenue and expenses, any concerns there? Or, I mean, it feels like we ran a tight ship and so managed expenses to revenue.
So
But any trade-offs, Lisa, that we should just be aware of as we think about go forward budgeting?
The biggest concern was the availability of the cash. So now that we move into 20, and we know now the system is a reimbursement system, there was a lot of downtime in uploading a new system, learning it, and so I think there was some delay, process delay, that caused the ability of us to have cash available to spend, whereas prior years, every month we had the same exact amount. And so we always knew when the money was coming and what we could spend against it, and what we could spend in future months. So I think that was a really steep learning curve. I know that in the beginning of fiscal 20, we'll have limits on that reimbursement. So that allows us to have funding, I think it's for 2 or 3
3
months. 3 months. So we spend against what we have. The other thing is when we budgeted, the shortfall is because it's not in the bank. And we had to draw down on the letter of credit twice. And so that was just not, we didn't want to go beyond that.
And that's my next question, to what extent, obviously, now when you shift to a line of borrowing versus equity, our credit facilities, anything that, we're comfortable with shift to borrowing before funds are coming in? All right, so we started having to borrow in advance of reimbursement as a result. As far as cash flow, no, I'm saying how, in the last 5 months when we shift, how did that affect cash flow and investment? Borrowing versus reimbursement.
Well, David, ACC has always had a line of credit.
Correct.
But
So
there's
that-
been periods in the past where.
But utilizing it is a
Right.
different question.
And so, we monitor the cash, yes, we've probably gone down more this year than we have in the past few years, because the past few years, the inflow, because of the city funding,
I'm hearing that
the thing is,
not a material change as a result.
it's not in the way that the operation is not a material change, except for the fact that, we would like to have had all those funds available. So we could-
Correct, okay. So,
The
timing is
plan is that,
material.
once, early in the next fiscal year, we'll repay that line of credit and be able to just use funds.
I think it's important to note though that our programs didn't suffer from not having enough money. The extra $3 million from city council in fiscal 19 was great. We really pushed out community programs and did more adoptions because we had a Queens Mobile Adoption Center. We added staff. We added, in the budget, there was over $1 million dedicated to medical, to staff, and to equipment. So we really had a good year. And we were able to, I don't want to leave you with the wrong impression that we were like cutting costs and then.
That's what I was trying to
services were
understand.
declining for one.
As we think about FY 20, it's important to.
It seems like we're close to the right staff because the overtime went down dramatically, or we're projecting more than.
Right, we have 280 plus people.
You think we're right staff or close to the right staff?
Well, it will change because as Queens and the Bronx develop and the
But for-
options, yeah. But at the moment in time, we're at a good number, but we're building out more programs. So we're looking on the development side for more funding for programs for staff on the non-city funded programs. Yeah, and we're getting a lot of interest. I think the community outreach programs are generating a lot of interest from foundations who want to push out more into the corporate world these next 5 years.
Any other questions on this?
Yeah, and what's the line of credit and what's the lag time for reimbursement from the city?
The line of credit, ACC has a line of credit with Chase Bank, and it's at $1 million. And that's something that has been in place for, as long as I think I've been working with ACC, which has been about 11 years, so it's always been available to us. Chase is a great partner with ACC. They've been very understanding about the need for line of credit. And in fact, in the last couple of years, because the budget has been growing, Chase came back and said, we'll offer you a larger line of credit, so we've gone from $500,000 to $1 million. And then they've been also very good in terms of repayment, so, it's, once you start drawing down the money, you only start drawing down, several months ago, we had a year, pay it back, and then there's a 30-day period, and now you can draw. So we factor that into our cash flow projections.
And the lag time of specific universities, how's that?
The lag
scheduled?
time right now has been 4 or 5 weeks because I started to do this, so that we're hoping that, on board 2 weeks.
And that was my experience. And then to the
Thank you
extent of-
for all the help in getting that for
Actually, I really want to thank ACC staff and also health department staff and Mary Carlino's Bureau who are working really, really hard to make this work. ACC was really the first contractor to go through this, so for the department and for our folks in the environmental health division and for ACC, it was a work I think we're almost there. It was nice.
When the facility repairing and maintenance there, are there some specific in 2019 that you could vary to 2020, or is it?
Yes, so part of the $3 million I was spending from city council was for security measures. So to add cameras and security equipment to the facilities.
That's part of
And
2019.
so that's part of the 2019 action. And as I'll explain, this particular version of the budget that you're seeing does not include an assumption of an additional $1.4 million that have been received in this amount.
And that would be an area
So one of the
where
things that-
money would
right.
certainly go if it came from. Okay.
Well, a lot of the security has been done.
I didn't mean just that it's security, I meant
Right.
instead of this line item,
Yes.
which seems low.
Right. So looking at the fiscal 20 budget, ACC's proposed budget is a $20.8 million budget. It is a balanced budget. DOH contract revenues projected to be $15 million, which is about $360,000 higher than fiscal 19. And that is due to the addition of all the monies for fiscal 20. The fiscal budget also assumes approximately $1.6 million in the baseline amount to help cover personnel costs for the staff of the fiscal 19. And as we just heard, that might possibly be a $2 million increase, so that will bring us back to what the fiscal 19 is coming to both personnel and for.
So, I know I asked this before, but when do you think we would get an answer about that dollar amount? Your best guess.
I don't remember when those kids. I can get back to you, I don't know when those.
Do you think it's months? or
No,
weeks?
weeks, yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
get.
yeah,
Because this amount on the
It has to be
second.
done by July 1st.
right, it's,
Okay.
The budget starts.
Last year was.
Yeah.
Well, last year was November.
The allocation.
that's when the allocation is, so we'll work on,
The-
The approval was earlier than the
so
allocation.
this is the vote on the city's budget.
Yeah.
So we're expecting it to be.
Couldn't we do an addendum based on new information being presented to us? We
Yeah,
do an addendum.
we could
We
qualify
will.
this budget.
Right, we could
We
qualify.
will, right, we'll
Right.
reforecast.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I realize, so the vote has to happen before July 1st, fair enough.
Yeah,
The money allocation.
right.
But now we can draw down on it before we get it, so it shouldn't affect the year, or just to understand. Okay, TBD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no matter what, it's a one-time, so in terms of hiring staff, is that a good job?
Correct.
Yeah,
It's a one-time, but now it's 2 years in a row.
right,
I like that.
a pattern.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, but I would, I would caution,
Fair enough.
we
We don't know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen, fair enough.
So the challenge remains for fiscal 21 and fiscal 21 again.
Right.
Having.
Talk to your
extra
city
money.
council members, encourage them to support ACC. We appreciate it. Okay, let's move to the budget presentation.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, the revenue projection is $20.8 million. UH money is $15 million. In addition, we have about 1.6 to cover the personnel that were added in fiscal 19. Development Department's fiscal 20 goal was to raise $3,340,000, of which $1.8 million is for restricted grants, $1 million is for unrestricted monies, and about $500,000 is for resident. This is an ambitious target and reflects the addition of experienced personnel to the department, including new development.
It was an interesting story in the Daily News this morning about how Trumbull City tax is affecting charitable contributions, is affecting individuals, and we have a pretty ambitious target for it. We know donations are down, tax laws. That's
It is going to be a challenge, I mean,
Do we feel, just to underscore David's point, because I do think the tax laws are here at least for a couple more years. The almost, $650,000 increase in contributions. The question is there like step change in behavior? I know we hired a development director, so anticipate that this is driven by having a dedicated person.
It is, we have a new team in development, so I think there'll be a lot of opportunity to just identify new areas, what was scale, what needs to change, definitely new ideas from other organizations and experience that they bring to our it relaxes the, I mean, the goal will still be there, but what happened in fiscal 19 is we got that million from city council, and it offset some of the lower revenue that we were getting from contributions, because we were able to do more in the community outreach, which is so driven by fundraising. And now we had city support for that, so we managed to do better than expected on the revenue side for programs. And the same thing in 20, if we got that 3 million, it's really gonna help on the expense side, not the personal side, obviously, with that. But I think that there really is an opportunity for development to change.
I
Really
agree.
sensitive to the tax laws, though. I see that there is.
Tax laws were in effect for 19, and I think we've done very well. And we also, as a board, have always set very aggressive goals for fundraising, especially these last few years. And I like aggressive goals because I think it challenges all of us to work really hard to deliver the fundraising results we all need, and we know how important it is and how game-changing it is. And you know, we have obstacles and challenges, and David's highlighting one of them. But I know that Jennifer on our staff now and the new team, we're going to meet them.
And just to quantify that a little further, of the 4.2 that we're talking about, additional contract, we're really talking about maybe $1.2 million of that being this bucket, because when you look at placement fees, other things, more certain grants or organizations that are more specific, although some of which made short changes last year, so we'll hold our tongue on that one. But it's really about $1.2 million coming from that source of the 4.2. So yeah, it's much.
Is the ROI projection for development about the same, or is that increasing? Because I saw that you do more direct mail, it looks like, what's the increase, right? So we're expecting, even we're spending more on development, we're gonna increase our ROI anyway?
That's the goal, yes. Yes. I mean, well, we expect, where we expect to do better is with foundations and corporations, and I don't think that there's a lot of expense on that side except for personnel expense. For events, yeah, I mean, we have our 25th anniversary coming up in 2020, but yeah. So that gala, although that will fall in the next fiscal year, but we're gonna spend more money on certain events to push out.
But you think the cost of every dollar, of getting every dollar in will go down? For development?
I think
Well,
actually,
No more reflect the number of dollars to increase.
yeah, right.
Yes.
More so than.
Both are going up.
Yeah.
One, yeah.
Relative to
I think
dollars.
we feel that the cost might go up a bit because we needed to develop our development department.
The cost will go up as substantially as the revenue.
And then the revenue will go up as well, yeah.
Yes.
I have a question. Going back to the 19 budget and forecast, under that contribution line, we were in a negative variance of 680,000.
And as I mentioned, part of that.
Yeah, and now we're projecting a surplus of that amount, it's quite a difference.
But the details behind it are as direct in the system. There was no specific item.
The 680,000 was really specific to one funding, and we were very concerned about what we had to spend in that particular fund in fiscal 20. So we're looking at other sources to be able to provide.
But we've accounted for that. We've accounted for the 2019 variance in most part, offset it in the 2020 budget cycle. So we don't expect that variance to reoccur.
You know, I would suggest when we talk about this is gonna be a qualified budget, but if we get $3 million, so it's another $1.5 million that go to other than personnel. That's the money that we would use for these programs that we want to keep funding. So it would take a lot of pressure off of that very ambitious goal in development. We didn't want to go backwards on our program, so we said we're going to work super hard with a new team, with new ideas, and fresh eyes and best practices to push it that high. But we can adjust that development goal based on knowing we're going to have $1.5 million for those programs that we are going to fundraise for. They only can get what I would say is we're never guaranteed that that's baseline. So we'll just have the same issue in 2021.
Yeah, we should push for the
So I
28% increase in contributions anyway, even if we get the 3 million. We
Yeah.
have a dedicated development director, we need to change our approach. I agree from an ROI point of view, like, we need, I think it's just like the expenses don't necessarily change if it's events. It's just what we get out of the events will change, there's your ROI.
programs.
So I think just having you here and really being focused on this, so I concur, like, let's go for the 30% increase. It's what we had anticipated, that same $3 million in 19, it didn't happen, but now we have a vehicle, a tool, you know, a person to make it happen. So,
And we will be
No pressure.
well, we're here to support.
Yeah, I think there's a lot
Exactly.
we can do with stewardship and really looking at like who our donors are, and focusing on bumping them up and spending time and I think there's a lot of exciting opportunities for us.
And I do think there is a virtuous cycle, and I'm sure we'll talk about Ray, you know, starting to bring in people who are well-known supporting the organization does provide a virtuous cycle of donations. So I think even within the last week, between
Yes.
you may not be a fan, but
That's okay, you still get a free adoption.
He-
Say his name, free adoption.
he is certainly well-known, and there may be people who are very negative about him or very positive, but even just like those kind of individuals who, Ray especially, I think there is a virtuous cycle there. So that I hope that that just continues.
Yeah, that was not correct average.
Yes.
I know it went from negative, I saw the us part, but then
Yes, and then we started working together closer.
Yeah, it's great.
Thanks.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, and there's gonna be a fun article coming up in the Hollywood Reporter about his support of ACC animals, so.
It's amazing. So
Great.
well done.
Yeah.
But this will help with donations, back to the budget, so we're not getting distracted. It is a impact on donations.
Absolutely.
And while we're talking about budget, I think it's super important, so everybody knows Jennifer DiClemente, who's our director of development. We're thrilled to have her. We have 2 new people who are supporting development also. But we also have a director of finance now, and Sandra Reyna, who's right here, who has been unbelievable in the, what is the month that you've been here? It seems like she's been here a year. She jumped in with the new reimbursement system, cleaning up so many, just financial things that we need. Everyone on our team is thrilled to have her to help us manage the budget in a really granular way. And same thing for development too. Between all the money we're gonna bring in, having Sandra and our team to manage it all, it's gonna just be great. So I really just wanna give her a big shout out, both of them a big shout out. And we're really thrilled to have her on our team.
So is the thinking so is the thinking that for these, where there are relatively large deltas to last year, on the medical supplies, on the auto expense, on the facility repairs, and on the other, you know, the final line, that most of that would be covered?
caught up on the
Yeah, exactly.
money coming in if it happens.
I mean, your top line pays for it, but,
There's sort of 3 buckets of thinking, because
Yeah.
there are things that occurred in 2019 that won't reoccur. There's things in 2020 that we want to occur.
Yeah.
And then there's things that we had to be aggressive in funding, but we would have, so we didn't budget as much as we should have. So, you know, so to the extent it's a one-time, we don't have to repeat that. To the extent we have to budget down because we didn't think we were getting enough revenue, we can bring that up to our normal level.
Fair enough.
And then we can add additional programs with the rest of the money, the things that are on our wish
which
list.
are not even
You
on.
kind of have, yeah, you kind of have
Because
3
right now,
buckets.
you've got a balance.
I agree, yeah, but you have, so you have 3 buckets of thinking there, recurring, non-recurring, one time, and wish list.
Fair enough.
So, case in point is the auto expense that you mentioned, because
Yeah.
in fiscal 19, 3 vehicles were purchased, it's not anticipated to show up. So that was gonna go down.
Correct.
There's a few other things like you mentioned
Correct.
on the facilities where we probably not spending much on this.
No matter
But
what.
there'll be other critical expenses that, you know,
And
those
when we
will come.
purchase
New one.
vehicles, it's OpEx, not CapEx.
If it's funded by the city, we consider that operating, because technically the city has to. If it was funded by either ACC or, you know, from other contributions, then we would have.
Teresa Are the veterinarians, are we doing well in hiring veterinarians and paying less per diem?
Yes,
Good.
we are stocked full of doctors.
Really?
Yes.
That's good, that's like the best
First
thing
time
ever.
we've heard that.
Yeah, we
Yes.
have 12 full-time, 12, I think 11.3 FTE veterinarians. We still are a little shy in support staff to support them, but the harder hire was the docs.
Well, hardly do.
And the credentials are amazing. You know, we had a conversation recently with a council member, we were talking about our organization, and what Robin was explaining is that we hear criticism about our staff, that we're not professionals and vets don't want to work there, but it's completely the opposite. Just 30 seconds to
Well, I think over, you know, from a choice of doctors to choose shelter medicine, that's a very small pool of individuals to begin with. So, and then I think historically, we haven't been the best place to work. So if you change that thinking and you change the standard of care of medicine, then that has been what's attracted these vets.
What has changed being the best place to work? Where,
I think creating a culture, including the veterinarians in decision-making, allowing them to do things. So we do a lot of diagnostics, we do a lot of follow-up care, we do, you know, replacing feeding tubes, we're doing surgeries. Those are all changes and enhancements and improvements over the last couple of years. So it becomes a place where people want to work.
Short answer,
And our,
you're approving things.
yes. And then, you know, we've had some salary adjustments and, I think just our live release rate is also something that is more attractive. I think veterinarians don't wanna work in a facility that has a low live release rate. That sort of goes against our veterinary oath. So the organization embracing that and working super hard to get it up in the high, mid-90s, that in itself is an attractor to employees of all departments.
Thank you.
Any additional questions on this?
It just, I mean, we talked about it, I know a lot of work went into it, and it was a process. It'd be better next year to get this sufficiently, I mean, we didn't have the variance until today, it'd be better to get it in advance so we can go with more specific questions, although it's a good discussion about it.
Yeah, I feel like my questions have been answered, and I also know that this is our budget, but we have every intention of amending it in a positive way with good news, hopefully, fingers crossed, coming soon. So with that, I believe we could take a vote to approve this budget, and I would like a motion to do so.
Yeah, and again, it's on a qualified basis. Effective date, we're allowed to do that.
It's not, I mean, it's not qualified, we're gonna,
Qualifying.
the current budget?
yeah, it's our current budget.
Correct.
It's a balanced budget, and we're hoping we're gonna
We'll be
amend
operating
it.
to this
No,
budget.
but
unless
what
we
is the
get-
process? The
Correct.
money gets allocated, do you then have to vote again on a new budget, or is it just,
No.
is this the vote
No.
that includes?
Yeah.
That becomes a reforecast,
Yeah, exactly, that's just because we allocated it.
and we'll see those as we move forward through the year.
Motion for that.
Okay, the second, all in favor? Our budget is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, David, again, also for all your legwork on this as well. Greatly appreciated. Risa, you're up. And it's,
Or you can, what if you sit in the stand there?
Yeah.
And, so,
We can move down.
I can move on to that. Yeah.
Do you want me to do it?
Are you all able to hear Risa, or should I hand her the mic?
Mine.
Mike?
It's hard to know.
I don't know how to turn it on. I'm not sure how it goes on, it's not, I don't know if it's on.
Oh, it's
I'll get out.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. See everybody. I usually start off by introducing some of our new staff, and we already did that, so I'll move right along to our city contract. And we spent a lot of time, more than usual, on the budget, which was really good. And thank you, David, for your help as treasurer. That was really important, and a really long, detailed exercise, and I think that we're in a good place for 2020. It does look a little flat for fiscal 19 and fiscal 20, and that's because it is. But with the $3 million from City Council last year, and hopefully in 20, we're going to really have a good start to the fiscal year. And with the new development team, we really have ambitious goals to do more. I just want to make you aware that the $3 million that we got from City Council, what we used it for was really pushing community outreach, and we were able to buy 3 vehicles. One is the Queens Mobile Adoption Center and its staff and the expenses for that, and there was a community pets program vehicle, which is for our community clinics, and Ellen will talk a bit more about that, which these are really taking off. And there's a community outreach vehicle for all of our non-adoption events, but enabling all kinds of outreach in the community. And so we're really making a presence beyond the physical locations of our care centers. Also, what you see, what you see in the gray shaded areas, I have said this every time we show you the city contract funding. The gray area is city funding for the new shelters. That's Bronx and Queens. And we are making progress on Queens. We have not yet purchased the property, but closing is scheduled for the end of the week. We're doing some environmental assessment there. Once it's closed, we will really start to move forward. And I think in January, I really look forward to having Jen Peavy, who's our general counsel in charge with all the capital projects, giving a full presentation with pictures, details, and timelines. But that's really what you see. So it includes construction and capital costs. It also includes money for people to work there and our programs that we're going to put into the new locations. And there'll be a presentation about the capital projects at the end of my presentation by Christine Kim from City Hall. All right, next, taking a look at the trends in live intake for dogs and cats. This is a snapshot from January through May, the last 5 months where we captured data. As you can see, if you look at 2015, the number at the very top, that's the total number. There's no total number yet for 2019 because the year is not over. But I think what's really important to see is the owner surrender and the stray categories. From 2018 to 2019, we're seeing an uptick in owner surrender, and we see that as a real positive. Because animals that we get into our care with information, and we know who they are, we have as much information as we're ever going to get, so much more than a stray animal, that helps us make a better placement. However, on the flip side, and I think that's where your question's going to go, what about surrender prevention?
Exactly my question.
I know you very well, David. Surrender prevention, still a very, very important program. In the last 5 months, we have done over 1,000 preventions. So I think you would see the intake number climbing. It does seem like it's staying the same, but without that surrender prevention program, I do think it could get bigger. Also, what you have to remember is we're really going out into the community. More people know about us, and we're pushing our resources. We want to be a resource center. So what we're doing in the Bronx and Queens right now is we are resource centers. We want people to come to us. We want to engage with them. If at the end of that conversation they have to surrender their pet, that's better than than the stray number going up.
Do we know the difference in library release between the two categories, stray and
Do you calculate that? I don't know if we've ever looked at that.
No, we don't look at it that way, overall.
wouldn't it be nice to know?
Yeah,
I mean,
I would be a good thing to know, because I think what you're saying is, we like owner surrender because we get more information. The question would be, would that more information lead
In
to a
some,
higher
and
library?
and in some cases, I agree, just to move some adoptions, not, obviously, not a staff member, but for doing adoptions, and speaking to people when they come, it's sort of mixed, some people get a feeling with that immediately, and they're like, I want this, or there's some other reason, and then some, I'm kind of not 100% sure it's the right fit for their household. And those are the ones where it benefits to say, well, because
Yeah.
the kid, you have a kid, did
I
this,
think
and
the
did that.
fact base would be how.
Yeah, it's a hypothesis, I mean, if we're spending money on surrender,
It would be good to know.
Teresa, one other question. Are people gaming the system still a little bit so they don't have, when they owner surrender, there's a fee, where the stray, there's no fee, and then that's on the fee? Because a lot of dogs are previously owned that are turned right in as strays. So, I mean, is there any way we can get around that?
Well, two things before I forget. Phil, write down that data point. We'll take a look at that. Thank you. And with respect to gaming the system, I don't think so. I think that we have created this admissions department. I mean, the people who are in admissions are so kind and compassionate and non-judgmental. And really, we're explaining, we need as much information about this animal as possible because, if anyone brings an animal to us and they think, oh, you may get euthanized, we're trying to change that perception, we say to whoever's bringing them in, let us know. As far as money, not an issue. We waive a lot of fees. We are here as a resource to the community. We're funded by the city. We are not out there to make $200. We really, our fees are so low to begin with, but if someone can't afford a fee, we're not going to turn them away or make them change their story.
So in some cases, it's more branding, the fact that people are more comfortable now.
I do think we're seeing that. I do, especially with community outreach, when people see us as a resource. And, we're trying to help people keep their pets for as long as possible. So we may have worked with someone for a year, and then they come back to us and say, I've reached my limit. And so, we have a food pantry, but there's just a certain limit. If someone is having a financial issue or whatever other issues going on in the home, we're there for them. We're there for them. And I will say, in our future, if we stay at this intake number, but it's, for right now, but it's 7,000 owner surrenders and 50 stray, I think that's a measure of success. If also we can measure how many services did we try to give them, and we're looking at that because we
Nobody
might.
wants strays on the street.
Of course not, but that's one of that's one of our.
You can't say not everyone, because there are some that think a community cat has a better life, might have a better lifestyle, so you can't even say everyone doesn't want to see it.
Fair enough. You're right, I'm thinking dogs.
No, oh,
You should have
I'm sorry, I'm a cat mom.
I know. I'm a dog person, so we have to calibrate. Fair enough.
The
Can
success
I just-
metrics would be helpful, yeah.
I just, because we're only 2 weeks from the end of the year, we should be able to forecast where we are landing. What's your estimate of where we will land for 2018?
For the fiscal year?
Total
This is-
number,
Because we're using calendar year. That's how we're measuring it. Really, for the fiscal
How are
year.
we doing this year versus last year at the exact same time?
We're a little bit, the intake's a little bit lower, but not by a significant amount, just like last year.
So we're on par.
Not materially.
Just like it.
So we said 2015 to 2016, that's 5 months?
The
Yeah,
numbers
yeah,
inside
but-
the bar.
That's the bar
Right.
of 5 months,
Yeah,
so it's
inside
the
the
top
bar.
is for the year.
Very top number, 30,521 in 2015 was the total intake for that calendar year.
Bars of the 5 month.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. And then what's the gray bar?
The gray bar is
Other.
seized, eviction, owner requested euthanasia. These are services that we provide to the community. When I talk about the placement rate, there is a lot of conversation in the national dialogue about including owner requested euthanasia in the placement rate. We don't do that. We are here as a resource to people in the community who don't have private vets, who don't have that service. We offer it, we also have a small fee for it, we waive that fee very frequently. If we weren't doing it, I really, it would break my heart for anyone to have to go through that and not have somebody as professional as our team, including our medical team, to be there for them. And anybody who's gone through the process of having to, an end of life for their pet knows how painful that is. And it's a really, really emotional decision. And we have an amazing team, and Dr. Brennan's team, and Letitia's here, I would give her a personal thank you. They created an environment where it's treated with compassion and humanely, and that's really important.
How has that changed over time? Has it, or?
It hasn't. It remains that's pretty much where it stays if you see across the 5 years. One thing I will say also, just when you see the numbers in 2018 and 2019 are the same for these first 5 months, we're in cat season, so there's a lot of cats coming in. Well, not great that there's so many cats coming in. And that really, the spring through the summer, we see a lot of cats, and it drives our intake.
How is this year going versus previous years? The same? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's talk about trends in placement. So the biggest trend really that we see is that we're increasing direct adoptions, and our placement rate of the animals year to date is 94%. And I just want to stop for a moment before we talk about the pie charts and talk about the 94% placement rate. So the placement rate is one measure of success. We are doing a lot. The number of surrender preventions, that's a measure of success. The outreach, the clinics, the branding, who knows us, who adopts from us. There's so many measures. But that number seems to be the landing point to define an organization as successful or not successful. And while we're proud of it, we use it as a measure for everything else that we're doing. And there's often times where we make decisions about euthanasia that the public disagrees with, or it becomes a media sensation. And what I want to just take a break and talk about, when we're looking at 6% of animals that are not part of the placement rate, what is that 6%? And there was recently an article in the New York Post that sensationalized one animal, one dog in particular, who had sent his owner to the hospital because of 6 bites consecutively, which was not the first time that this dog attacked this person. But it was sensationalized, and I think that when the public lands on that one case and thinks about our organization as defined by that one case and what they're seeing in the media, in particular the New York Post, which is really, notwithstanding many conversations that we'll have with reporters from the Post, don't always reflect the full picture in our view. I just want to take a moment to talk about that case. That was Maverick. I know that members of the board are very aware of it. Members of the public, I'm sure, are also. There was a video that was taken by a member of the public in a very private moment of our shelter operations, and we've talked about it at our leadership meetings, and I just want to bring Dr. Brennan to the microphone just to explain what you were seeing, because what you think you were seeing and the reality of the operations are completely different, and that's not reflected in an article in the New York Post. So, Dr. Brennan.
Good morning. So I, like you, was pretty upset about that video. And when I looked at it, I saw something completely different. And that is really what made me kind of bummed out, that somebody took video of a very private process that happens at ACC. So as a norm, anytime a decision is made to move forward with euthanasia of a dog or a cat, we in vet services elect to provide oral sedation for that animal. And there's two reasons why we do that. One is to decrease the fear and anxiety of that pet, but the second is to start to ensure the safety of our staff. So these animals in general have already had severe incidents of injury inflicted upon a human, and my staff is at risk for having another one. So the video of Maverick was post sedation, and he was leashed doubly with 2 people, again as a safety measure. The hallways were cleared, again as a safety measure. We were not trying to hide anything from anybody. We were trying to protect public safety and the safety of the staff, volunteers that were working there that day. So that's really what you saw, was a sedated dog walking down the hall with 3 people who could not be more compassionate. I know the 3 people that were involved in this, very emotional for them. It's an emotional endeavor for them, and it's not easy. So providing that sedation actually makes the process easier on the staff as well, because the dogs are not biting and trying to bite them. So that's what was recorded, was the walk on a very high dose of acepromazine and safety measures in place so that nobody would be hurt further. He was not wheels. That would have entailed, so, okay, acepromazine does not knock a dog out. The dog still is in full, has his full capacity. So going to try to lift that dog and put it on a unstable vehicle would not have been appropriate. It actually probably would have been more anxiety ridden for that dog than for him to walk.
Thank you. It was a really tough thing, and I think I speak on the whole board, appreciate the professionalism, and, you know, this does, as Reese is saying, this touches on our responsibility as the open admission shelter in the city, that when an animal that has attacked a member of the public and the police have come to the aid of the victim, and you know, it ends up at our shelter and nowhere else in the city. You know, it's a hard reality of who we are, but it's part of our responsibility with our contract to the city of New York to protect New York residents, and none of us like it, and it's a really hard thing. And again, I really thank you for going into the detail, and also thank you for the professionalism that the staff showed in such a difficult thing. It's not easy for anyone, something none of us would want to have to do in our daily lives. It's a hard thing, and I appreciate it.
You started off with saying that the live release rate is one of our many kind of KPIs of how we measure. I think it would be great if before you get to this, you talk to and lay out what those KPIs are that are broader. Just to your point, I think that we lose that because we don't have what are the 4 things when we go back to kind of developing our strategy that goes beyond it. Because you're right, so much of what we do is such an important part of what we do, but it's one part. If there were 4 or 5 things and we had a measurement this year versus last year, and we start with that, and then you kind of go into each of them, I think that drives it home with us. And then we can, you know, hold ourselves accountable to pushing the ball forward on all of them. Because you're right, as a community we focus on it, but as a board we focus on it too. And I think it would be a good idea for us to figure out a way to make it
Okay, yeah. And actually, it's sort of embedded in these slides, but you're right to call it out, like how many adoptions and.
It's like, here's 5 things we worked on this year versus
Yes,
last year versus
absolutely.
goal. Yep, we got it.
Definitely. So when we look at the trend, you can see that direct adoptions, another measure of success and a KPI, is really moving in the right direction. Again, going back to what I said about animals that are surrendered, having more information, making better matches. Obviously, everyone who has come to our care centers or adoption events sees, like, we're not teaming with puppies. We have animals that have histories. Most of our harder to place animals are large dogs. We have so many cats, but we're doing so much better in adoptions because we have more mobile adoption events. We have more events in our shelters, more outreach, more social media. I just feel like the brand is growing and reputationally we're improving, and as a result, the adoption rate is going up, and which also shows you that the animals that the New Hope partners are taking is declining. One may say that's not a good thing. Shouldn't they be taking more so you can get to 98%? However, that overall placement rate is increasing, notwithstanding New Hope taking 49%. Again, the New Hope program was created to take animals that have challenges, behavior and medical challenges, animals that are not necessarily available to the public or make good candidates for an adoption. So these are harder to place animals. And we are actually encouraged by the fact that direct adoptions is moving forward as well as our placement rate. I will say a word about rabbits. Our placement rate for rabbits, 100%. Very, very interesting when City Council passed a law banning the sale of rabbits in pet stores, we started to see a decline. It is a correlation, and maybe it's not really scientific, but the law was enacted and we have fewer rabbits. And we've always had 100% placement rate of rabbits, but we used to have to clear out rooms to accommodate space for the rabbits. So I'm really encouraged with that, and I'm encouraged that there's a resolution that City Council is considering about banning the sale of dogs and cats in pet shops too.
Without raising us in any way, shape, or form. I remember there was one year where we got like 4 hoarder situations like in a row, hoarded rabbits, and it's like, you know, how many hoarders of rabbits?
So this is sort of a good lead in to Ellen Curtis, who's our Director of Strategic Operations. New Hope is one of the programs that she is responsible for, and there's a lot going on in New Hope, and we had a lot of questions at the last board meeting that had to do with New Hope programs, so I'm going to turn it over to Ellen Curtis.
I'm hoping I'm loud enough without the mic. I think I am. No.
No.
I'm trying.
So 2 things before I start. One, guinea pigs are the new rabbits. We are getting more guinea pigs than ever and now doing adoptions of that. And also, if I can just call your attention, we actually have done more direct adoptions of dogs than we have New Hope placements. And I think that's one of the first times we've actually seen that complete reverse. So that's pretty exciting. So just a few things that had come up at the last board meeting that I want to update on. We had a conversation around the follow-up of animals that are placed with New Hope partners, and that was specifically around one case. We did make some changes based on that. We have created and are in the process of rolling out a new guidelines document that is being sent to all the New Hope partners that they have to review and sign, and also getting updated information from them. And we included in that for the first time that they have to provide references on boarding facilities and trainers that they use that we can check. We're also doing more audits than we have in the past. We've this year done 28 audits, and that has unfortunately or fortunately led to 4 suspensions. So we're really, following up on all the information about where the animals are going, and that sometimes leads to tough decisions being made about the future of that group as a partner. We also have started saying where a dog can go that has shown certain behaviors or deterioration in the shelter. If the dog isn't doing well in our facility, then they're not going to do well in another shelter or boarding facility. So there are dogs that we now say have to go to a home environment for their well-being. So those are a couple things. We also have a meeting next week with a couple of the volunteers, one of whom had spoke at the last board meeting. I've had a lot of conversations with her. Her name is Kate. And we're going to be meeting with her and a couple other volunteers who are very invested in the animals placed with New Hope, and we're going to look at how we can create a volunteer program to help follow up. Because with over 11,000 animals still placed through New Hope, it would be impossible. We just don't have the staffing to do all that follow-up, but it is an important component. So I think by creating a volunteer network to help with that, we'll be able to do much more follow-up than we have.
That's great.
So then I'm going to move on to a couple of our other programs that are up here that are really exciting and really kicking into full gear. One is our Community Pets program. The program's been around for a couple of years, but with the funding from City Council, we were able to hire a couple more staff. And so we've really ramped up the work we're doing. We're going to have 24 vaccine clinics this year. That's up from 15 last year. We're also doing training classes where we hire professional trainers and they go out into the community in a series of 3 classes that the public can come to. And so far we've already exceeded this year the numbers that we had last year. So far this year we've had 10 classes, 80 dogs have attended the classes, and we've already had 13 that have done the 3 full class series and got their certificates. We're also looking at providing more services and resources at the clinic. So there's obviously this, the vaccines that are happening, and then we're making appointments for spay-neuter for anyone who's interested and referring them for free spay-neuter. And now we're also offering resources to help people before they ever get to the point of even considering. They've recognized something in their pet that is causing some problems, maybe scratching furniture, not using a litter box, not walking well on a leash. So we're now providing things like harnesses and better collars and leashes and interactive toys and talking to them in detail. And so far this year, we've already provided 49, well actually, let me back up and just tell you what one weekend looked like. So last Saturday, we had 1 vaccine clinic and we had 2 training classes in Parks and Queens. 183 animals were vaccinated, 112 received microchips. We did 63 appointments and referrals for free spay-neuter. We did 17 dogs were trained, and we provided 49 of the resources I described. So that was one weekend, and we have the same calendar for this weekend. So there's a lot of animals that we're helping in the community before they even come to us or even think about that need. And then the next thing that we're developing is our neighborhood resource program, and that will be where we are with staff members and a volunteer team going out into the community. We're going, starting with the zip codes that have the highest intake right now from Bronx and Queens. We're looking at those first. And that will be going out and meeting the people in the neighborhoods and talking to them and having them tell us about their friends or family or neighbors that have challenging situations. And we will be using that amazing community pet vehicle that we got with the city council funding. And we'll literally be able to say to someone, oh, you have a dog that's highly stressed in the city because of all the noises that come with the city. We have a thunder shirt for you. Or you have a dog that's, not walking well on the leash. Let me go get that harness. Let me go get that scratching post. So that's really going out in the community and helping people with the problems before they develop into bigger problems. And we think by going in and really, diving deep into one community, one zip code at a time, we're going to get to know the people, and they'll tell us about their friends and neighbors, and we can help as many as possible. And then that brings me to community kids. And not to keep harping on the city council money, but we were able to hire, who's here today, Catherine, our amazing community kids coordinator. And so we have developed an amazing program with this. There are so many components to it. One is, of course, staying with our Boroughbreds theme and our books with Boroughbreds. We have this year so far there have been 33 visits that Catherine and Alex have done going to schools and doing presentations. There's been 81 shelter tours, which includes the Borough orientation for kids. We've already surpassed this year everything that we did last year, so we're looking forward to really blowing that number up this year. Catherine has done so many innovative things, so fun. One of the things she's done is she created a song to the wheels of the bus that is the ears on the Happy Cat, and kids love it. Like, we have videos of kids and teachers, and so it's really, it's going beyond kind of the initial thought of just bringing humane education to kids and talking to them about ACC, and it's helping them with reading, it's helping them with empathy. It's really amazing, and it's also helping teachers. And a friend of mine who is a kindergarten teacher, I referred him, and Catherine went out, and he could not stop raving about it. And apparently teachers are always looking for things to help them fill up class time, so he requested that she come every week for the rest of the week. So we can't quite accommodate that. But I do want to directly read something that Catherine wrote for a grant that I think just speaks to what we're doing with this program. So we're learning that this program provides more than education on what shelter animals are and how ACC helps the community. It also provides a new and unique environment for participants to learn and make connections based in empathy. And empathy is really a theme at ACC that we've been talking a lot about. We had a trainer come in and talked about like what our culture is, and that was the one word that we kept landing on. So I think this is really bringing it to a new level because we're reaching kids from as young as pre-kindergarten to high school age. And it's leading them to do more. They're talking to other kids. One child, they got together and had a lemonade stand, and it brought in $1,100 in donations. We're seeing kids who are having birthday parties, and their theme of the birthday party is to make toys for animals at ACC. So it's just this whole new generation of bringing the work that we're doing and then kindness to animals to the forefront.
I think that's one of the biggest questions I'm getting from adopters is my kids want to be involved and volunteer to serve. I think it's great. I think that's one of the biggest questions.
Yeah, I have a 12-year-old daughter who's volunteered and has read books to the animals and is super excited. We will be running a lemonade stand this summer, and we will be bringing the ACC to her school in the fall. And I can't say enough about this in terms of not only the pride that she has and she reflecting empathy, but just bringing the organization to the community in a way that touches everyone's hearts and for children to learn to give back. Because all of the parents want the children to learn to give back, and this is one in a way that's so easy to connect with the animals. So I applaud the work that's been there. I hope we continue to grow this in a meaningful way. It's had an impact on my personal family, and I'm just so excited to see this blossom over time because I think this is going to be really good for our community as a whole, as well as our children here in the city.
It's great to see this in a positive way. I mean, some groups show poor sad animal alone or in a cage. It's good to have a positive input, to have people come in that way. So I think it's a great approach to it.
Did you mention what the teen programs were? You mentioned teens, but I wasn't sure I heard what the programs are.
So we're doing a number of things. One thing we've looked into, and we believe we can start having 17-year-olds volunteer as adults. Yeah. Okay. We're continuing to look into. We know that some organizations do have 17-year-olds.
And taking pictures.
Yes.
I know my daughter who's 12 is dying to do that. So I think the reading books is probably for the little kids, but I think writing bios and taking pictures of.
That's what they're actually doing.
That's what they.
Yeah, that's what we started having children come in and do. And then we're also looking at having like partner programs where there's an adult with the child. So we're looking at partnering with NYPD because they have different programs.
And they're making beds and making toys for them.
Yes.
Responsible and toys.
And these are happening through connections with schools as well as with connections through other groups?
Yes, we've gone to a number of schools this year and had different school groups come in. We've had a lot of connection with Girl Scout troops and also a Fair Shake for Youth, which is a program that works with underprivileged children and teaching them about kindness through animals. That's another one that we've partnered with quite a bit. But mostly the biggest thing is the tours and the visits to the school.
I think this could have a lot of legs in adoption, so I would love to see it drawn out. And, you know, as we build out the structure of the program, to your point, what exactly this age group can do, what exactly this age group can do. So I'm really excited to see what we can do.
And there is an amazing proposal that was put together that we're starting to implement that I can certainly share with all of you. Catherine and Alex worked on it, and it is one of the most professional things I've ever seen in my life. So, I mean, it's just the things that they've thought out, that every step of how to roll out these programs and what's needed for them. So I see nothing but growth in this area.
I think another thing you might look into, if you haven't already, is there's an enormous investment in after school in New York City. And these are run, you know, through community settlement houses, but they happen at a school. And especially in middle and high school, kids are encouraged to start their own clubs. You know, the Fortnite club or whatever. Like, let's not do that. Let's have a humane animal club. They probably already have them, but that might be another way, as opposed to through schools, to connect to labor, like sewing pillows and
Yeah.
making toys.
And maybe not as opposed to, but in addition to. Because I
Yeah,
think the schools are a good.
Yeah, no, absolutely in addition to, it's just a sort of untapped resource. And we offer school programs, so I know the lay of that land. But, you know, from the hours of 3 to 6, there are hundreds of thousands of middle and high school kids in after-school clubs looking for activities, so. Hopefully not video games.
And then before I go to our volunteer spotlight, just in volunteers in general, we did have our first volunteer fair on May 11th, and we had over 200 people show up. And we set it up really as a fair. We had 9 different tables representing different programs that had opportunities. It was a lot of fun for the staff. We had an opportunity to really talk to different people about the different programs. We introduced new opportunities. One thing that we found with our volunteers is, you know, some of us have been with us a long time. They're doing what they like to do. So we need to go out and find new volunteers, sometimes for new things. So play groups, we highlighted, having people help with play groups, and there was a lot of interest. We did have a community kids table, and we had both adults, teachers, for example, or parents who were interested in helping with the program, but we also had a lot of teenagers who came in and were interested in hearing about ways they could get involved. So that was a lot of fun to do. And then for our volunteer spotlight, I don't know how many of you have met Mark before. He has been a fixture at our shelter. So Mark has created an entire grooming system for us. He started off doing grooming himself and still is, but then he realized that is such a need for the animals. We get animals that come in and are so matted or just filthy, and they need that help to look their best selves for adoptions. And he identified that need. I mean, he did something that's amazing. He identified a need for us, talked to us, worked with us, and then created this whole program for us. And so far, I believe there's been over 400 dogs that have...
About almost 400, because the foundation is done. Between me and the foundation, we've done about 1,200. Actually, something that I just posted recently, we are now caught up in Manhattan, so that pretty much when a new dog comes in, before it's even available for adoption, while it's still on stray hold, we can either groom or raid in most cases. Now these are the behaviorally green and perhaps blue, and sometimes yellow with the sedation. So still, there are dogs that we're unable to do that for, but maybe someday. I mean, so that's our goal.
And it's a time-consuming process, so to have staff be responsible for that, which had tended to fall a lot of the time to the vet services staff, who, you know, there's so many other things that they need to be doing. So this has been amazingly helpful. And having been at our Manhattan shelter last Friday and seeing the dogs in the process of being bathed and groomed, and then after, they look and smell fantastic. They are so happy. So it's really helping
Their
them.
whole personality changes. I mean, imagine yourself if you haven't had a bath for weeks, and then you have to go out and meet somebody. I mean, are you going to put your best foot forward? Probably not, and everything. And then, like, imagine going to a place in your worst clothing, and then, or versus showing up in a nice suit. I mean, so Well, we think our grooms make them feel like they're looking, showing up in a nice suit and everything, look good. So-
Yeah, that's great. And, I mean, anyone who's seen a before and after photo of a matted dog, they don't even look like the same animal. You couldn't even identify them from the beginning to the end. So,
And
thank you.
The average adoption rate on a post-groom dog is 7 days, and that includes the long-stay dogs that we've made that are still there. Some of them are up in the 60 days of the long-stay dogs that we've made. So, and now most of the grooms are gone within 2 or 3 days, but that's obviously pit bull breed restrictions on buildings. That's why the average is up a little more than what we'd like. But still, we're advertising, we're promoting them. Before after pictures is helping. So.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
for
Thank
listening.
And I am now going to have our absolutely amazing foster program manager. So I'm going to come up and talk about an amazing new program we have.
Is amazing. Am I loud enough to have the microphone? No. Microphone it is. So this past April, one of our foster team members had the opportunity to go to Maddie's sleepover and field trip apprenticeship in Virginia. Not only was she completely blown away by how transformative the programs can be, she also brought back information to help us launch our own field trip programs, Borough Breaks. Our Borough Break program is where we pair a member of the community with one of the dogs in our care for a field trip. The field trips can be as short as 2 hours. They can span the entire day. The activities can include exploring Central Park or a dog-friendly restaurant, a hike, or even taking a dog home and letting them take a nap on your couch for the afternoon. So if you're not in the position to own a pet, if you do own a dog but you are just looking for a non-committal way of helping out, Borough Breaks are the perfect program for you. When we launched the program on May 25th, I thought we were going to send out 5, maybe 10 dogs. I printed 20 Borough Break applications just in case things got crazy. And things did get crazy. In our launch weekend, we ended up hosting 61 Borough Breaks. It was phenomenal. The public loved it. Our dogs loved it. And we loved it so much that Borough Breaks are now running out of our Manhattan Care Center every single day of the week. And we're looking to bring them to our Brooklyn and Staten Island locations as well. Anybody take an animal out in a Borough Break in the room just yet?
I didn't, but I heard of a lot of people coming to it, really excited, so I paid for it. I think 1 or 2 did, and 1 or 2 said, I definitely next time, and I know it's coming back.
We'll hold you to that.
I will.
The good news is that signing up for a Borough Break is incredibly simple. You go onto our website, you click on Borough Breaks, and you can sign up for an adventure of your own. It's a very, very popular program. Dr. Brennan just told me that she wanted to go online and sign up, and we are completely booked through June into July. We're always adding more dates. So it's an incredibly popular program. Not only does it help decrease the level of stress in the dogs that participate, but the information that we receive and pass along to adopters is phenomenal. We're learning that our dogs love children. We're learning that dogs love making friends with turtles, Princess. We are also learning that some of the dogs are not as high energy as they present in the care center. And that's what we learn when they're 20 minutes, 30 minutes into a walk. That is information that we can turn around and give to an adopter and potentially make a match when that match may not have happened, or it's extra information, fun information to pass along to somebody who may be on the cusp of adopting this animal. So I encourage everybody to look into the program, foster a large dog. We're always looking for large dog fosters, but Borough Breaks are a really quick and easy way to get involved. Corporate groups are starting to get involved. Instead of a solo trip, we're seeing small groups come from, different corporations that we work with. It's a team building exercise, and our dogs really benefit at the same time. And at the end of the day, this is information that we're gathering in a way that is incredibly beneficial to our dogs.
You have a you have a questionnaire or a feedback form or something?
Oh, wait a minute, yeah, we have a video.
We do have a video, so if I have not encouraged you to participate, and really everybody in this room should go onto the website and sign up to participate, the video will probably help change your mind.
I love it so much, it brought tears to my eyes. The one question I had, and I love it so much, is are you worried about the dogs not being in the facility, that they're gonna miss an adoption opportunity? Or how are we handling that?
We did think about that, so we allow 5 row breaks. Hi again. We did think about that, so we allow 5 dogs to leave on a burrow break at one time. So that way we have animals in the care center, we rotate dogs, so if a dog went out yesterday, we want another different dog to experience it, but then the other dog is back in the care center to meet with potential adopters as well.
Great. It would be nice to keep track of how many adoptions come out of it, if that's end up coming out of it.
We just launched, so right now we have a massive spreadsheet where we're collecting probably all sorts of data we don't need, and part of the data is looking at adoption times. Is it somebody that met them or their burrow break sponsor, and if not, but all the information again is fun and helpful.
Thank you so much.
What kind of instruction do you give to people? Like, I know people saying that you're good with kids, but like, I've had dogs where I would want, like a dog walker, for instance, to let a child approach the dog, so what kind of instruction do you give?
Before you take a dog, you will fill out a very simple burrow break application. And it's not necessarily an application, it's more of a questionnaire for us to get to know you. And that way we know you've had 6 really rowdy dogs in your lifetime and you're comfortable taking out a rough and rowdy. Or maybe this is the first dog you're ever walking, or you want your 5-year-old or your teenager to come with you. So we look at all the information that you provide, and then we will personally match you with a dog that we think would be a good fit. So everybody who took a dog and had a child with them, we would speak to our behavior team. We have 5 dogs in our minds that we think would be or would not be a good fit, and we take it from there.
You know, I'm just thinking like you say, going to the park, for instance, and then 5 little kids come running up to the dog, you know, you don't know the dogs, you don't know the reaction, so what do you instruct them as far as strangers coming up to the animal?
The instructions are simple. If we don't allow, nose-to-nose contact with dogs, because people are just getting to know these dogs, we don't know their cues just yet. So if you see somebody vigorously approaching you or a very happy child running towards you, just turn around, walk the other way, use verbal cues, put a hand out. You know, this dog is on a Borough break. This dog, I like to use the dog as, you know, he may be sick or you don't want to necessarily approach him because we're just getting to know him too. So I think just the act of turning your body away, walking away, and kind of creating that flow is enough. At this point, we've sent out, I think, close to 80 to 90 Borough breaks, and we really haven't had an issue with dogs approaching or kids approaching.
Are they all level 1 dogs?
Nope, we send out level 1s, level 2s, and level 3s, and that's where we kind of use the questionnaire to help us guide. We have one gentleman who comes pretty much every Saturday. He's a member of the public who just learned about the program when we launched, and he takes level 3s every single time. We will typically walk, you know, the length of a block with a level 3 dog, and then if they're comfortable, they can go on. If somebody's not had a dog or kind of, you know, has had one dog growing up, then we probably will pair them with a level 1. Any other questions?
Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up. Just a couple of minutes talking about awareness. As we're doing all these great programs and pushing it to the community, we're really trying to push our brand, and we are relaunching the Borough Red campaign. That's always, it's a money issue, so we had some funding this year to help us push it out again, and so you will see in all 5 boroughs. This time we decided to, based on zip codes of where our adopters are, that's where we put our ads, and these are just examples. They're in all 5 boroughs this time, and they are on Link NYC and phone booths. No billboard in Times Square, unfortunately. That's a big ask.
I know one of those dogs.
Yes, you do.
And we know Jeff did that.
Is this an opportunity for the potential incremental dollars, or are the incremental dollars all earmarked in advance? Because I think this is such an important thing for adoptions, et cetera, and this goes back to, from a staffing point of view, you don't have to repeat it. So,
What, in development, what we find is very difficult to ask for general operating or unrestricted funds. So, from the city, that's, okay.
this is the potential opportunity for that if you get it.
I think, you know, in our contract with the city, there is a service of communication that's needed. And so I think that we could put this into a line item that's communication about, I suppose if it, you know, it gives information about where we're located and services, there is an
We're
opportunity.
talking about, what,
Yeah.
it's all pretty recent news, so we're
Right.
not, we're
Okay.
starting to talk about what's this.
Okay, I would consider it. Feels
Oh,
like it's again another purchase.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a great ad campaign, and it really is going to be a part of our branding for a long time, so we will talk about additional funding. And then I just want to end with a really amazing piece of marketing material. We had the great fortune of being introduced to Ray Liotta, who came to the Manhattan Care Center, and he is everything. You can see, he sat with our staff, he talked to people, he asked us questions that were so really caring. It wasn't like, oh, a celebrity showed up and did his photo op. He really wanted to know us. He asked, what does it cost to run this place? How many animals do you have? Oh my gosh, these are such great animals. Anyway, I'm not going to do too much talking because you'll see really the love and the joy that he brought to ACC in wanting to help us. He filmed a public service announcement that is going to be appearing in theaters. I think it already started over the summer. There's 4 theaters where it's going to be. You know, when you sit down before a movie and those commercials come up. So this will come up, and a few of the theaters are showing a few dog-centric movies or pet-centric movies. So that's a really good tie-in, and the Avengers movie. So we are really thrilled. And so we're going to run some clip. He did 3 public service announcements. This is one of them.
Hi, I'm Ray Liotta, and I really believe in adoption. You may not know this, but I was adopted, so I know what it means to need a home. I'm here at animal care centers of New York City, surrounded by wonderful pets that are waiting to be adopted. So come on over to ACC and give these pets a home. Go to NYCHealth.org. Who's a good fella?
And that's a wrap.
Thank you, Dennis, for introducing Ray to us. That was fantastic. Christine from City Hall is going to give us an update on our capital projects. And I know we are running a bit over, but we'll get to the public comments after Christine, and I think we'll be done with our meeting at 11:30.
Hello. Hi everyone, again, my name's Christine. I'm the Animal Welfare Liaison for the Mayor's Office. And I am going to do a very brief presentation on the capital projects. Actually, I can control the slides. Okay, so just to give a little bit of context, there was a recent announcement or a law passed that we need to have one full-service animal shelter in each borough by 2024. We were already well on our way to accomplishing that before the law was passed. The administration dedicated $99.2 million for animal shelter development and renovation. So we already have 3 full-service animal shelters. We have 2 ground-up constructions that are being planned and are already underway. So the 2 ground-up projects are in the Bronx and in Queens. And then the renovations are the Staten Island shelter, the Brooklyn shelter, and I'm sorry, we do have also the Manhattan Pet Adoption Center, which is the first standalone adoption center for New York City. So for the Bronx shelter, it's a 50,000 square foot facility. It has enough, or it will have enough space for approximately 70 dogs, 140 cats, 30 rabbits, and 20 other species. The shelter is going to be a full-service shelter. It's also going to be the home of the new ACC headquarters. There will be a veterinary clinic there on site so that we have low-cost and no-cost veterinary services available to the community. That's also where the pet food pantry will be housed. Right now, the pet food pantry is located inside the Bronx Receiving Center, I believe. And then there will be a wildlife education and rehabilitation center run by Wild Bird Fund, and also a community room where there can be community programs held. So the design consultant has already been selected, and we expect to kick off the design process in June. So the next steps for this project, the design is projected to take 24 months. We will then select a contractor, and that process will take a projected 9 months. The groundbreaking is expected to happen in spring 2022, and move-in will be summer 2024, just in time for us to meet the deadline. Here is a concept rendering. This is just a rendering, so the design may change. Oops, excuse me. So for the Brooklyn shelter, we have a total renovation to construct a 2-story building. The design will be completed or projected to be completed in winter 2020. Then we will select a contractor, and that will take a projected 9 months. Construction will be projected to start in winter 2021, and move-in is projected for fall 2023. Here is the initial concept rendering. As you can see, the square footage is more than double. The HVAC is also will be more than double. Okay, this is an update on the Staten Island renovation. We're having a total renovation. Move-in is expected in fall 2019, so really right around the corner. We're all very excited for that. And we are currently working on the main adoption entrance parking lot to be completed in spring 2020. And here are a few photos of the progress that we're making in the Staten Island shelter. I know the design was taking natural light into consideration. I don't know if there's somebody from Department of Health here who can speak more to the design.
It's like a translucent pan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are windows, I believe, we see a benefit of that, on the upper, like.
Yeah, at the top.
So the Manhattan Pet Adoption Center, it's again the first ever standalone adoption center for animal care centers. It's going to be a 2,500 square foot facility. We just recently won the 2019, or were awarded the 2019 Public Design Commission Excellence in Design Award. So congratulations to ACC. Next steps, the design is projected to be completed this summer. Excellence in design. I think
This particular,
for the Manhattan Adoption Center.
so this picture won the award. Did you say that we haven't completed the design yet? I'm just curious.
That's the design. The design is complete.
Oh, so that's the exterior, 2019. So the design's complete. I'm just wondering what.
all the design, all of the construction requirements. So the design,
Build,
public
the
design.
build docs aren't quite done,
Right, got it.
but the overall
This
design, the
particular
architect's vision is in
building.
place and it will.
And the,
Yes.
So next we will select a contractor that's projected to take 9 months, and then construction is projected to be completed by spring 2022. And here are just a few photos from the design award ceremony. Okay, that is the end. Any other quick questions before I wrap up?
No, and you mentioned the Queens ACC
We might have
will
to
update,
clean.
but as Risa mentioned, we're in a very, pivotal moment. We're about to purchase the property, and I think once we do, we'll have a lot more information to share. But right now, as anyone who's bought property knows, this is a moment where we have to sort of just focus on getting it closed.
Okay, and now it is time for the public comment session. We have 6 people who signed up, and again, I'll just remind everyone, in case this is your first attendance at a board meeting, we're here as a board to meet, and we absolutely welcome and want to be meeting and hearing from the members of the public who come and attend our board meetings. What we ask is that you be civil and you be courteous and you be careful about the language you use, and you also try to limit your comments to 2 minutes or less, so everyone has a chance to speak. And with that, Esther, you are a veteran at public comments, so you will set a standard for good behavior.
Follow my standard. Hi, I'm president of Shelter Reform Action Committee, and I am just blown away by particularly all the outreach programs that we see. They are terrific. It is a change. And I'm delighted that you're going to start, Ellen, the audits of more new homes. So my questions are fewer now. I've been approached by many people, and I have my own questions about the community cat program. And I don't know if the entire board has the same questions too. Basically, it's a group called Neighborhood Cats that's deciding which cats will be returned to the streets. And other people need to see their protocol, because there are questions about, are the cats allowed to go back to the street when they're still sick? Are they allowed, I am still opposed to friendly cats going back to the street. Do FIV and FELV cats go back to the street? Because they can spread that to other cats. So there are lots of questions, and I would love to see the protocol by Neighborhood Cats. And now we have a question about disease. Dr. Brennan, thank you for speaking. And there's been a change too in the medical department. But because of the physical constraints of the buildings at the ACC, there's going to be disease. So do you track how many animals get seriously ill after coming into the ACC? And will you track those that died in kennels, the animals that died in kennels, the DIK numbers, were animals that came in healthy and then died of disease. This would be very important to know. And I would love to hear more reports by Dr. Brennan.
Stephanie Stadler? Hi.
Do I have to come up or?
I can pass the mic.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Sure.
Okay, so I have a bunch of suggestions to increase the live release rate. I don't work at shelter or anything, but I've been there a bunch of times, so since I only have 2 minutes, I guess I'll go through them fast. I highly suggest putting all of your foster dogs and deferred intakes on the app at Shelter Buddy. I can list a number of dogs that are in foster, including dogs that have Instagrams for being in foster, yet they're not available online or on the app, so that's a little bit disappointing. For example, Kara, Princess Origami, Polly, Rocky Earl, I can go on and on. I think that the kennel cough dogs and medical dogs should be in a room that people know they can go into, because I've noticed that the kennel cough room is typically full or seems to be pretty packed. And all it says on the door is, please ask a staff member for assistance, and it's locked. How would anyone know they could go in there or what that is? So it wasn't up to 3 days ago. I was just there on Thursday. Okay. I strongly suggest that New Hope only dogs should be on the app and online as available so people can see them and still adopt those dogs. For example, there was a Shih Tzu in Brooklyn named Prince. It was New Hope only. No one knew he's available unless they go there. And someone was looking for a Shih Tzu, messaged Must Love Dogs, like an advocacy site, and noticed that there's one named Prince sitting there for a month. As soon as Must Love Dogs told them about Prince, they applied with the rescue, and the dog was out of the shelter and adopted by that person. So if there's a dachshund, whatever it is, New Hope only, why not put them on the app or online? I also strongly suggest there should be an Instagram for the at-risk list besides a Facebook, because Instagram is obviously a big network. And I highly suggest a pre-at-risk list or something like that. For example, I messaged the ACC page about a dog named Two-Face that I met. I saw it in Brooklyn. Clearly kennel aggressive, I'm not gonna lie, very kennel aggressive. I messaged about it June 7th saying this dog will clearly be on the at-risk list. Please add him earlier, like some type of courtesy, something, pre-at-risk list. And he was indeed uploaded 2 days later, June 9th, died euthanized June 11th with 1 chance on the at-risk list. Yet I saw him aggressive at least a week before, kennel aggressive. I highly recommend updating your website for the accurate New Hope partners. There's been New Hope partners such as Jackson Galore that are not New Hope partners for many months, and people reach out to them. They're just not New Hope partners. For your at-risk list, the information is not always accurate. For example, Scooby on the at-risk list last night, it says, in one place it says he's 5 years old, another place it says he's 8 years old, and another place it says he's 12 years old. That's very confusing to prospective adopters. I would like to know how old Lindsay was when she was euthanized while she was pregnant on day 6 of DOH, how far along she was, and if it was possible to save her babies. I would like to know if your live release rate includes the DOH dogs that are brought in. And it does, okay. And why some of the dogs' pictures are completely like awful, like Ellis, who was added last night and is barking. I understand she's an aggressive dog, but it says she nicely takes treats and things like that. You can look online for her picture. It's blurry and she looks like she's yelling in her picture. And I wanted to shout out Ren in Brooklyn and Jose in Manhattan for being incredibly nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I know you have a lot of detail, and I know that you heard a few answers to some of the questions, and I'm sure people will follow up with some specifics with you as well. Joan Salako.
I don't need it.
I know.
I used to work there in the 90s, and I gotta tell you, I am like so, I think you added more members on the board. I am so impressed. I want this to go longer. I mean, everybody was so animated, all you board members, I appreciate that you're coming here. I know it's probably part of your job and you get paid for it, but I can just tell.
We are all volunteers except for the 3 city officials who have to be here for work, but as you can see, they're totally engaged as well and committed to the organization. But we are all volunteers, all volunteer work.
Right. So you don't get paid for me.
We do not receive any compensation of any kind.
You're taking up my time.
I'll give you 30 extra
okay,
seconds.
but I just appreciate the enthusiasm I mean, this was great. I mean, I'm just blown away. And I defend you guys, and I love you guys, and I worked there, and I could change the fuse box. I mean, you know, that was my home, and she has good suggestions. And, you know, I defend you guys, but when I was working there, I said to myself, do people move into New York City and say, I gotta give up my animal, because why are the numbers going up? We must find, everything is going down. Why are owned animals going up? And I know people are, they're all allergic and moving. I know that's bullshit, they're not all allergic and moving. But something about those numbers, this is 2020 coming. This is just something, I don't understand it. Because more of us have more animals. And you know, we don't surrender animals. So I think that's the one thing to work on that. Grooming is very important, detrimental to animals. People don't realize those animals, grooming is important to that breed. I tell people, if you can't afford to groom, that's not the animal for you. You know, appreciate that, maybe you should really hire a groomer too, if you don't. But you should get, you know, eventually. And her suggestions.
Would it be possible for you to wait until she finishes? That's just hard to
Yeah. You know, but pick up on her suggestions, because, I mean, I'm gonna foster one of your cats, for crying out loud, that I saw at Jackson Galaxy thing this week, because nobody wanted him. But that age, listen, they tell me it's 8, I know it's probably 9, 10, but that 8 to 10 to 12, that's a big gap. And you know, if you look at their teeth, they look like that, and I see you can lie a little bit, but little things like that you have to pick up on, because people get crazy with that. But I just gotta tell you, I'm just like blown away, and I just appreciate everything you do, and I will always defend you. I know about that incident in the hallway. You gotta watch those people with this, you know, I know how things are these days, but I know the shelter. I know what you guys are talking about. The public doesn't. Boy, that's awful deceiving. And that's something you gotta be careful with. And I just thank you. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Joan.
I appreciate it.
Next up, Joan Pulowski. Hi.
I just have a few questions. What are the qualifications of the people that conduct the behavioral assessments of the animals? Are they like behaviorists? Do they have to be certified? What are their qualifications? Because I see animals ending up on the at-risk list for such trivial kind of behaviors at times. Young puppies for leash biting and mouthing. It just doesn't make sense to me, some of these write-ups that I read. And they're confusing. Names, dogs calling he's, she's, he's, age is incorrect. Just all these different things hard to follow, wrong names in there. There was this one dog I was looking at, this was quite a while ago, his name was Maverick. And at the end, they called him Cinnamon. And I'm like, where did Cinnamon come from? And it wasn't like he was like a return dog. So where did that name come from? So very confusing sometimes. I also am concerned about seeing these volunteer videos and pictures of some of these animals, and they're interacting beautifully with handlers and the volunteers. Friendly, playful, yet the behavioral assessments read totally different and make the dog seem like he's horrific. The other thing, that sometimes these dogs are assessed when they immediately come in, and they're not ever pre-assessed. And they're going in when the dog comes in, he's fearful, he's scared, and it's like the worst day of his life, and you're basing listing a dog on that initial assessment. And there was one dog, Simba, who was never assessed. There's videos of him playing in the yard with the people. He was fearful, yes, very, very fearful. Never reassessed. People, rescues were asking for an assessment of this dog. It was never conducted, and he was euthanized.
Thank you for your comments and questions. Mark Imhoff.
So we're gonna get back to, yeah.
Oh, Mark has left. Oh, right, yes. But we heard from him and he's awesome. Eileen Mullaney Newman.
Hi. My name's Eileen. I work at the Brooklyn Borough President's office. And it's so funny, I didn't plan on speaking. I'm just so used to signing in everywhere that when I was running late, I couldn't sign in. So, that being am the Borough President, Animal Advocate, and I've been working with ACC for a couple of years now, doing our adoption event. I missed you this year, by the way, June 1st, at Borough Hall. Okay, all right, we'll let you off the hook this time. Fred and ACC came this year, and we had the best adoption from ACC, an older, big kitty mix, which, you know, no, people weren't looking to, they were like passerby and so forth. This woman came, and they were perfect together. They were perfect, and she went home that day, and I think the dog's name was Duchess. Is it Duchess?
Yeah, she ended up Kitty.
Oh, that's it. It was great. It was a wonderful day. We had 18 adoptions, over 200 vaccinations, and 71 licenses. I do want to work with ACC on bringing another component to that event next year, which would be maybe we could talk about the veterinary services, because we got a lot of folks, new folks that came down this year, and it was really good. There were people waiting to get their dogs vaccinated way before we were ready to open. So thank you, board.
Thank you for coming, thank you for signing up to speak, and I'm so glad that we're working so well as a Brooklynite myself, really excited about it. And that completes our public meeting of the board, and again, I applaud Risa and her whole staff. It's been great to hear about all the really exciting programs that are expanding and growing in our community outreach, as well as our increasing adoptions and our really strong live release rate numbers. And I think, again, we had a lengthy and important and good conversation about the realities of our finances. I think we're in good shape, and I think we're optimistic we're going to be in better shape soon. And I also know that we also see that as an absolute challenge for us to be working double hard on all the development work that we're working on. So I thank everyone here on the board. Our meeting is not done. We need to move into executive session to talk about a few matters. And so I would like a vote for moving into executive session, and we will clear the room, and we will continue on with some matters as well. Second? All in favor? Okay, we'll also take a comfort break. Thank you, everyone.